You're right. I do like to travel around. When I decided to create Her Chair, His Hair, I thought I need a hobby and I also need to do something that's going to better our industry. So I decided I love to travel. I love to meet new people. I love to write, and I actually like coding as well. So I built a website and I decided I was going to create a platform for women who specialize and cut men's hair. They do the beard trims, they do the shaves, and quite frankly, these women, they get a lot of pushback. So if I were to introduce myself as a barber, somebody would say, yeah, but you're a hairstylist, right? Like, you do women's hair, right? No, actually, I'm not licensed really to do women's color or anything like that. So Her Chair, His Hair initially was meant to be a blog, just to share their stories, to interview them, and share their work. And recently, I've really come to find out I want it to be a resource and a platform for women, so that they feel that they have a community as well within this industry, whether they're already a barber or if they're crossing over from cosmetology.
And why did you feel the need to create this blog in particular?
The reason why I felt so inclined to create this blog, I cried maybe 3 times separately from clients basically walking in the shop and saying, I need a haircut. And when they said, great, Cassie's available and she's perfectly capable of doing your hair, they would say, oh no, I'd rather wait an hour, 2 hours. Some of them would look at me like as if I didn't belong in the same space as them. And that hurt. That really hurt. And I mean, eventually I grew thick skin and I realized that they don't really matter. But I could only think of how many women must have felt discouraged trying to pursue this industry and trying to pursue this career if, in New York City of all places, I was being turned down because of my gender.
Okay, so you're a female barber in New York, in Manhattan in particular. Tell me the salon stroke studio barbershop that you work at. Tell me a little bit about the salon itself and what you specialize in and they specialize in the salon.
So recently there's been a surge in the industry where there's a lot of these private studios and these private areas that you can rent out. And essentially that's where I work right now. It's kind of a cohabitative space with other stylists, barbers, people who specialize in color and weaves. And it's called the Master Suite, and it's right near Columbus Circle, so it's in a lovely area of Manhattan. And it really gave me the opportunity to be my own boss and to be free. So I specialize there, my specialties there are the same as what you would find in a barber shop. I still do my hot towel shaves and my beard trims with the razor finish, and haircuts, all of that. I even do men's color now because I have the space to be able to do some double process and gray touch-ups and all of that. And the studio itself just offers a prime location for artists who really want to be their own boss and set their own prices and set their own schedules, but still have that feeling of working with a team that's there for the same reasons.
Okay, and what are your personal biggest challenges as a female barber?
Personally, my biggest challenges as a barber, quite frankly, has always been my clipper work. Even though I went to barbering school, my first job was actually at a men's salon called John Allen's. So immediately I was introduced to shear work. I mean, I can do scissor over comb no problem with 7-inch shears or 8-inch shears. But clippers have always, been something that I have to work a little bit harder at. But for me, having that struggle has really helped me enjoy when I get that perfect bald fade or that perfect skin fade, because over 3 or 4 years I've worked really hard to perfect it. And I'd say the other struggle that I deal with is pricing. For some reason, again, people think that my gender somehow affects my ability to cut hair, especially men's hair. So I mean, I understand that there's a price range for everybody, and the same gentleman who's going to pay $20 for a haircut isn't going to pay $50. But and I have quite a good clientele where whatever price I say, they pay it, no questions asked. But every now and then I get a gentleman who walks in and he says, yeah, but I mean, as a woman, you're not as experienced with men's hair, so how do you feel capable or qualified to charge this much? And it just throws me off every single time, because as a businesswoman, first of all, but also as a barber, there's nothing that would relate price or ability to my gender, in this instance at least. And I struggle with that quite a bit, actually.
Okay, so there's clearly a need for change. What change would you like to see for female barbers?
I can tell you any woman that's watching this video will probably scream out loud, yes. The biggest change and I think a lot of women would like to see happen is eventually not to be called female barbers. And it's no issue. It's not that it's a large issue. It's just that we're barbers and we happen to be women. And it's a discussion and a debate that happens all the time, because right now it's a necessary evil in the sense of, if I just say I'm a barber, again, it goes back to that question of, are you a hairstylist? Do you do women's hair? If I say I'm a female barber, for some reason, somehow that automatically clarifies the situation. Just like, all of our friends, Dave Diggs or Jay Majors, you don't go calling them male barbers or, anything of that sort. Eventually, I'd really just like to see there not to have to be that distinction, for there not to be a question of, oh, but you do women's hair as well. If I say I'm a hairstylist or, I do women's hair, that's what I do. If I say I'm a barber, I'm a barber. And I hope in the next, 5, 10, 15 years, we can really see that, where especially at shows like this, you just walk around and you say, do you do men's hair? Are you a barber? Oh yeah, I'm a barber. Or no, I'm a hairstylist, but I'm interested in men's hair. It seems so small and minuscule, but I know to a lot of women it makes a very big difference when they don't have to clarify, like, oh, I'm a female barber. No, I'm a barber. Nice to meet you. What do you do?
Okay, so with Her Chair, His Hair blog, it's a source of inspiration for female barbers. Who has been your biggest source of inspiration?
You know what? There was a few women who came before my platform who really paved the way. Christina Gori, and she won the largest prize at Bronner Brothers, and these were women who really piqued my interest because they managed to break through a barrier, or a glass ceiling, so to speak, and they are definitely owed credit for what they've done for this industry. But quite frankly, my biggest inspiration came after I started this website. She was one of the first women who I interviewed, and she's got a fighting spirit, man. Everybody knows that I consider her to be one of my best friends. Her name's Mariela the Barber. She's from Phoenix, Arizona. And when I learned her story, to me, somebody that's grown up in quite a bit of privilege and quite a bit of comfort, when I decided I wanted to become a barber, my parents said, great, become a barber. Do you have the money? Oh, you have the money? Okay, cool. Go ahead, get your education. Mariela had to fight for everything she's had. She supports her family. She now owns her own house and her own car, and she, within her own right, is a spectacular barber. And I don't think she's always given the credit that she's due, because she's very talented and she works very hard for everything she has. And to me, that's my biggest inspiration, because running this website and running my own business, and I'm an only child, taking care of my family and all these things, it gets hard. We're human. We kind of say, I need a break, and then I think of Mariela and I'm like, well, this is easy. But yeah.
So also, Her Chair, His Hair has that annual event where women can actually get together and network. And after speaking to you off camera, I would say that this is one of the most inspirational things a female barber could actually attend to better themselves in the craft. Tell me a little bit about this annual event and who you believe could benefit.
So this October will be the third year for the Her Chair, His Hair showcase and fundraiser. And initially, the reason why I started it was, quite frankly, you didn't see women on flyers. You didn't see women as educators, as guest judges, as showcasers, and if you did, they were very far and few in between. So I said, here's a need, and I want to fulfill it in my own hometown in New York City. So, and then I realized that it's great to get barbers out and to pat each other on the back and say, oh, you did a great haircut, but if we're going to go out and spend money anyway, why don't we just do it for a good cause? So each year we fundraise for a different cause. These women take their time from their shops, from their families. They, find models. They help each other find models, which I think is a really nice way to come together. And they show off some of their best haircuts. Some of them do portraits, like See the Barber. Some of them paint gold in hair, gold foil, just like Karina. And the first year we raised about $1,500. I didn't charge anything at the door, and it was for breast cancer. This past year we did for domestic abuse survivors, and we raised about $3,500. And this year our goal is to raise $5,000 for The Door. The Door is an organization that was founded around 1972, I want to say, in Manhattan. They're called that because they were known for their bright red doorstep in Soho. And it was at the time a safe place for gay and transgendered teen youth, about 12, 13 to 24 years old. If they were kicked out, if they had nowhere to go, if they were beaten up at school and they didn't feel safe, this was the place for them to go. And if nothing else, just for them to have a community of like-minded people. And I'm so happy to say that The Door has grown into this huge organization. They're based right down the street from where we're going to have the event this year. They have a legal department. They've extended their services beyond gay and transgendered youth to children of immigrants or immigrant children. So quite frankly, with the political climate right now, they're working very hard on multiple pro bono cases a day. And then aside from those three wonderful things, they also just have 1 or 2 floors where these kids can go after school and they can learn about cooking or computers. It's really a spectacular and inspiring place. And when I decided who I want to fundraise for this year, they were no doubt at the forefront of my mind, and I'm really excited about that.
Okay, so if someone wanted to if someone wanted to attend this event,
you can always find details on the Her Chair His Hair Instagram page, as well as herchairhishair.com. Every year we do create a website separate from Her Chair His Hair, just as an invite page, which will also always be posted all over social media and as well as on the website. We do encourage people to RSVP. Typically we do some raffles or giveaways for people that have RSVP'd and attend the show. And it also helps us just keep in touch and let you know about different women that we're interviewing or different sponsors and what they're giving away. But yeah, pretty much online. Or if all else fails, you can always just email me. That's connected to the Her Chair His Hair Instagram as well.
Okay, so Cassie, in closing, what words of advice could you give to maybe that female barber who wants to take up the occupation but she's frightened and she just doesn't know what to expect, and that's the one thing that's holding her back? What words of encouragement could you give to this person watching this interview?
Well, the first thing I would say as words of encouragement would be, don't be afraid. It is scary, but just remind yourself, you've probably done far more scarier things in your life than become a barber. Whether that's holding clippers against somebody's head or a straight razor against their neck. But just don't let people get in your head. That's your space. That's where you get to, review how your day went and cheer yourself on. And if you let other people get in your head, you will never succeed, because we're already our biggest critics. And if you've got 1,000 other people on social media, speaking poorly to you, and you let that get to you, it's just gonna, make it worse. And I'd say surround yourself with like-minded individuals, whether they're men or women, because it's all about balance in this industry. I'm not here to say that men shouldn't be barbers or women should only be barbers. It's yin and yang. It's about balance. So if you find a mentor in a man that you work with or in a woman, just listen to their advice, take their advice, because that means you respect them, and then take everything else that social media has to say with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, they're not the ones putting money in your pocket. They're either there to cheer you on or, you know, to see you fail. And you have to remember that you're going to be the reason why money is in your pocket. And if you see something wrong with your skills or your abilities, just be honest with yourself and take that class or go to that event and ask that person, how do you get your fade so smooth, or how do you get your scissor cuts so clean? And there's no stopping you if you do that.
Cassie Kurtz, thank you very much for giving me your time and your words of wisdom. I'm sure a lot of female barbers that are watching this will look at you as a godsend and think, where's this woman been all my life? Because, you know, a lot of women out there are on their own and they've maybe been searching for this kind of help and they couldn't find it. So now they've got your blog and they've got you, and come October they've got your event. So there you are, girls, this is your godsend. Take full advantage of her. You know her hashtags, go and follow her, go onto her website, go to her event in October and network with other like-minded females. So for now, we're out here. Thank you.